Today we want to talk to you a little bit about unity and one accord in the family. Now there are different type of families. There are family of husband and wives who have children and maybe looking for some tips in regards to how do you bring unity in the home, how do you have a one accord in the home. There are also families that have been integrated where mixed marriages or they were separated or divorced or maybe lost a loved one and they remarried and have to deal with children from other marriages. There also may be single parents that are watching right now and saying, I need some support in regards to how do I bring unity in my family between myself and my children. And also there may be grandparents who are raising up their grandchildren. Mm-hmm. Well, today Kathleen and I, we have a couple, few, I guess, little nuggets that we have used in our family. And we have seen that it has really drawn our family together. Kathleen and I have been married for 24 years. We have 7 beautiful children. One is married. Our oldest is going to be 23 in a couple months. And I would say that our family is pretty close.
Yes, it's pretty close. But you know, people say, how can you manage 7 children? Well, it's a joy to manage 7 children. It's actually not a job. It's a joy to serve. It does take a lot of work, but it's a joy because you can see the fruit, the results of having a family that's close and unified. And many times we want to give up in doing that, but it's just a joy to serve the Lord and a joy to bring the family together in unity. And sometimes it just takes a few little things to do. Yeah, we can give you a few tips on what we do for our family. Mm-hmm. But like one thing that we do as a family is we make sure we sit down together at least once a week and we talk about our week. I know in today's society that's not an easy thing.
Or it may seem impossible.
It may seem impossible, and it takes a little work to do something like that. But why we do this is because each person in the family gets to be heard. Everybody gets a turn to talk, share about their week, share about their dreams and desires. Sometimes they'll have something that happened during the week and we weren't there to be there for them to talk about it, but now they can. So we don't miss out on anything that's going on in our children's lives.
I think sometimes too, like, people feel like they don't have sufficient time to spend with their family.
Right.
But when I look back at the years raising our children, I think one thing that we have learned is that we need to invest time. And time can mean 5 minutes, it can mean hours. It's investing time, taking the window of opportunity, as you usually say, and spending time. A prime example would be, for example, if you have a father watching this clipping and you have daughters. Daughters look for some kind of role model in your life, especially for a man in their life. What type of man should be the perfect man that they should go out with or they should look in having a relationship? Well, from a very young age, one of the things that I have done is I've learned to invest my time, make it necessary to treat them like a princess. For birthdays, I would buy flowers, go into the schools, take it to front of their friends and show them that they are special. On my way from work, I would come home and I would say, hey, you know what? Let's go out for coffee. Investing time, 5 minutes, half an hour. Spending time with our children is very, very important. And you have to make that time. We have one son and a son-in-law that we consider a son. Mm-hmm. And we do nights out as well. We spend one night. It doesn't cost much to get a hotel room. You go out, you have pizza, you drink pop, you talk about reality facts, you invest that time. Those are moments that your children will never forget. Right. And taking out the girls, we do the same thing. I do the same thing with the girls. We go to a hotel that has a pool. We spend time swimming. We spend time talking with each other. Just myself and the girls investing that time, letting them know these are some of the things you need to look for in a relationship. Talking about real life issues and real facts.
Yeah, you know, in today's society, we have our children involved in a lot of activities, and that's a good thing. They're in sports or music or drama or those different things.
Or in school.
In school, but a lot of those activities are done on their own, you know, and so I think as parents, we try to integrate activities where our whole family is involved together. Like even, and it doesn't have to be a lot of money. You know, you may say, I'm a single parent, or I don't have a lot of cash. Well, just going to the park, doing things, activities. The library has things that are free for you to do, programs in the community. We go out and we just play basketball, soccer together, go on hikes on the local trails. Those are kind of things you can do as a family.
Have a picnic.
Yeah, and the thing that the more you invest in time with your family, the more you're going to join and unify your family to be one accord. That they're not going to say when they're home on a weekend, I'm going out with my friends all the time. But no, they're going to actually want to be home, and they want to be with their family and spending time with you. And that's the kind of atmosphere we want to create together as a family.
Especially as Christians, God says to raise your children up in the way of the Lord, that when they get old, they will not turn away from it. What does that mean? Well, one of the things that we have learned is that we will always be our children's parents. Even if we're 80 years old, and God help us that we live even longer, our children will always be our children, and we will always be the parents. That's the responsibility God has given us. And what we invest into their lives, both spiritually, socially, in every aspect of life, it's our responsibility to do that. And one of the things I believe also, or we believe, is the fact that if we don't take the responsibility of saying to our children, this is what we want to incorporate in our home, is that on Sundays, for example, Sunday is a time for family to worship. It's not for the husband, it's not for the wife, it's for families, especially in this generation where families are falling apart. Kids are getting involved in drugs, kids are getting involved in alcohol, kids are getting involved with worldly things because they're looking for stimulants, they're looking for pleasures. We need to incorporate spirituality in their lives. When they come to church, they build a foundation that God is the #1 foundation of their life. It should not be an option. It should not be a choice. This is the will of God, to raise up godly families. When I look at the Bible, families were always part of what God was doing. They did not have a choice. They sat down and the word was spoken to them. The stories were told to them from their foreparents and the generation before them about what their parents went through and what their grandparents went through and what their great-grandparents went through. And the foundation was their faith. And I think in today's generation, that needs to be built upon. On Sunday mornings after church, when we all come to church and we go home, we try to make Sunday a priority, that the whole family sit down together, have lunch together, and we talk. Everyone has an opportunity to share about their week. Everyone have an opportunity to share about what's going on. I never knew that one of our daughters was bullied at school until one day, one of these conversations we have had, she broke down and she said she was bullied in school, and that's why she put on this like a defense mechanism. But reality is, if we don't, as parents, invest in their lives to know and understand our children in each age level, getting to the level that they are, whether they're 5 years old or even if they're 20 or 30 years old, sometimes we need to get into their level because we are more mature than them. And we have how many years it has taken us to get mature, and we're still getting mature.
We're still learning.
But learning and growing. And then sometimes we have an expectation of our children that may be 12 years old or 18 years old to have the same mindset of someone who's 50 years old or 40 years old. It's difficult. We need to get down to their level and be able to bring that.
That's why the communication is so important, because there'll be certain opportunities where some children talk a lot, others don't talk a lot. But if you're there at that right opportunity, I talk about open windows of opportunity. That's the time you're there, and all of a sudden they'll open up and share what's on their heart. And we don't ever want to miss those opportunities. And I think another thing that really draws us together in unity as a cord, in any families this can work, is the husband and wife showing their love for one another and their respect for one another. That's going to join a family together in unity, because our children, our families are watching us and seeing the interactions we have with one another. And this is going to build strong relationships for our own family and also for them to set the standards for their families.
And I think sometimes men need to swallow their pride and know that it's okay to be emotional a little bit. It's okay to put their arms around their wives. It's okay to put their arms around their children. It's okay to show and express love, because if you don't do it, they're looking for it and they're going to find it in the wrong place. And if we as fathers or husbands or friends to our wives, if we don't take the initiative to really put ourselves out there and make it happen, it's not going to happen. Sometimes I'm so tired from work. I work at several places. I get so tired from work and it becomes a little bit stressful. But we make that time to make sure that the love for one another is not a facade, it's a reality. We have real issues just like everybody else, but we learn to deal with those issues privately, that it doesn't affect our children. And lastly, before we wrap up today, I just want to touch a little bit with some extended family or families that have been integrated. We have had several questions in the past. If two families merge together, how do you deal with that? How can I be a father or a mother to stepchildren per se? Well, children need to understand that they're still children and you are the parents. And when you have some basic ground rules, you start to work within the home. You start to incorporate what is God's expectation for families in general, that the children can understand this is not a choice, this is what God requires in the home.
Right. And you develop your own culture because you're bringing two different ones in. Now you unify together in a new family. You have to develop that culture together as a family unit. And you're adopting these children that are coming in as your own. And you have to see them as your own and create that culture within your family. These are just a few nuggets
I hope this has blessed you. If you want more information in regards to family in general, Kathleen has a new book out called Not Without Our Children. You're more than welcome to contact BCF Church and you can get some more information in regards to how you can get a copy of that. God bless you.